friends. Welcome to Tammy's Knitting Podcast, formerly Tammy's Homesteading Crafts. I am Tammy, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Tammy's Homesteading Crafts. Tammy's Homesteading Crafts is also the website where I sell my project bags and crafting accessories. Also, while we're speaking of the website, I do have a sale going on till tomorrow, December 31st. I will put in one of the corners here, I will put the sale flyer, or maybe down here somewhere, I will put the sale flyer. All the information will be linked down below as well for the website and all of my social media. You can also find me on Ravelry as Tammy's Home Craft. Okay, so today's video, and I'm Tammy, by the way. Today's video, we are going to look at 2025 knitting in review. What I've made and what I purchased. Last year, at the end of the year, I did a closeout video of everything that I did. And then in January, I started a new list and I wanted to track all of the yarn that I brought in and what I used. So I figured I would talk about that, as well as also talking about the things that I made. I had some goals that I had set in January, then I revisited and did some goals in June, and we'll talk about those and see if we met any of those goals. So if you guys are interested in any of this, stick around. Okay, so for the knitting in review, first let's talk about, this is my notebook that I used to track all of my projects that I did. And in January, I set up some goals for myself, and I wanted to do a few things. So one of the goals, I set myself 4 goals in January, and it looks like I did 3 of the 4 goals. No, I did all 4 goals in January. I wanted to make a doodle cowl, which I did do that. Cornbread and Honey was having a doodle make along, and I did that. Gathering flowers color work, which is what this is that I'm wearing. My Tunisian cowl in the round, which is right here. I did do that. And then knit a vest. And I also did that. So my first goals of 2025, I did everything on those goals. And then in June, I made some new goals. And in June, I decided I wanted to see if I wanted to make a spring tee for my mom, which I did do. Figure out my sock tubes and try to get as many of those made as I could. And I did. I only have 2 left of them. So I got all of those other ones done. To make the Kayla tee, which I did not do. Skyline tee, which I have it going, and it is right here. I am working on one of the sleeves. I just have the sleeves left to do on this. I was hoping to have this done by the end of the year, and I still might. Depends on how much of it I get done today. My Salia tee, which is right here, and I actually put that on hibernation because it is sleeveless, and I didn't figure I would really need to wear it right now. But I do have the front done, and the back is still got a few more rounds to go on the back. And then I can do my sleeves and collar on that. Probably will not get that done this year, but I started it and I got it going. The other thing that I wanted to do was the dance of drones. We started it, and I did not like the pattern and the way it was knitting up, so I ended up changing my mind of doing that. Uncomplicated Love, I never started that shawl. Butterflies Fields, I did, and I gifted that to my sister-in-law for Christmas. So I got all of those done. So not too bad for my goals. I ended up um, two two things I didn't start. One I started and ended up not liking it and taking it out. But that's not too bad for the goals that I set for myself. Now on Ravelry, I talked about this last year. You can get in your project page, you can put yourself some goals of how many knit projects you want to do. So since we're talking about our knit projects, let me go into Ravelry and let's look at what we've done there. Okay. Okay, so in my projects on Ravelry, when you go into Ravelry into projects, over on the one side, on the right side, there is a thing that says challenge, and it allows you to challenge yourself on how many knitting projects you want to do that year. And I put 30 because I wanted to do a lot of sweaters. I ended up finishing 53, but 4 of these projects came over from 2024. So I had what came over from 2024, and some of them I finished right on the first day of the year. So my Relentless Tee, my Treasure Trove wrap, my Pure Comfort Cardi, and then my Daily Knit shawl. Those were ones that came over. So I take those off of my list, and I ended up doing 49 projects that I finished this year so far. If I get one of these other ones done, it'll be an even 50. But on January 1st, I ended up casting on my doodle cowl, which I did, some socks for my mom, some stripy socks, and then my vest. Those I had cast on. Then in March, I ended up casting on, or maybe February, I ended up casting on a filio cowl, and I made a matching hat to go with that. I did my Tunisian crochet in the round, and then this color work. I ended up doing my sea glass shawl, and then my land and sea cardigan. Then got thrown off the rails a little bit on knitting for myself, and I ended up knitting some baby sweaters. So I ended up doing 2 baby sweaters and 2 baby hats. Then I ended up doing my grid gambit, and then I started working on some of the sock tubes, getting those done. And I did a commission set for a friend of mine. He got a hat and a cowl, a couple more sets of socks for myself. And of course, when I run out after I do a cowl, if I have anything left, I try to make a hat for myself as well. And I've done a couple of hats like that. I did my bird watcher sweater, which is a sleeveless sweater that I've worn. And then I ended up doing my All Points South cowl, which is a longer cowl, and it kind of comes over almost like a poncho type cowl. I really do like that one. I ended up doing Your Slip is Showing, and then of course another baby sweater, baby dress, some more of the sock tubes. I finished my poncho that I started back in March. I ended up finishing my mom's sweater, and then I did a Sophie scarf for her, and then I ended up doing some muscle burrows for some people, myself and my brother-in-law, and getting them finished. I ended up doing a shawl called Among the Wildflowers, a merino squares bandana, I have some of them here once I get to the ones that I haven't shown during the podcast. A couple of more beanies for myself. The whistle down cowl, another beanie. My blurry cowl. This one I finished, and this was just leftover yarn from my grid gambit that I had made. So this was left over from that. My One Love shawl I got done, and then of course I made a hat. I had a DK skein of yarn. Did 3 or 4 more socks with the sock tubes, and then I finished that 70s tee. And then I also finished my Ico Iris as well. And then the last thing that just came off the needles is my Flannel Crush, which I just got it blocked yesterday, washed and blocked. I just need to stitch it up. But I got this done as well. So I just have to sew the ends of that up. But those are the newest things that I got off the needles, are those. Okay, so that is everything there. Let's talk about the amount of yarn we brought in. And then we'll show what projects we still have to work on. So I wanted to take each month and figure out how much yarn I was bringing in and how much yarn I was using. So I started in January. In January, I brought in 5 skeins of yarn, and I only used 1. Now, the way I figure my out is if I use a skein, even if I don't use it all up, I consider it out, and if I make anything else with it, doesn't count to out when I say for out of yarn. I might have finished projects, but nothing. It wasn't anything with yarn. So like I made my whistle down cowl and I did a hat. Well, I have this much yarn left and some of the color yarn left. I've got them caked up for socks. They won't count as any yarn coming out because I already took those 2 skeins out of my stash. I try to use everything that I have and I don't have leftovers. That's trying my plan. Okay, so January was 5 in, 1 out. February, I ended up bringing 5 in and I didn't get anything finished. I'm sure I finished something in February. It wasn't counted as yarn out. March, I ended up bringing in 11 skeins of yarn. I went on vacation and I went to a couple of retreats. I ended up getting rid of, pulling out 3 skeins of yarn. April, I brought in 20 skeins of yarn and I ended up bringing out 2. May, I brought in 20 and a half skeins and ended up getting out of my stash 6 skeins. June, I only brought in 1 skein, but I got rid of 7. We're getting better with our numbers. July, I brought in 6 skeins and I took out 8 skeins. August, I got 6 skeins in, 3 skeins out. September was a bad month. We brought in 32, but we got rid of 16. So we got rid of almost half of everything that we got out, that we brought in. October, we brought in 5.5 and we got out 8. November, we brought in 31. Yeah. And we got out none because there again, I finished my Elk and Me hat, which was the hat made out of this yarn, out of the whistle down. So it was already taken out because of the cowl. The hat didn't count. And also My blurry cowl didn't count because the yarn was already taken out for my grid gambit. So I finished projects, but I just didn't, there was no yarn taken out of my stash because they were already out of the stash. Okay, so December, I ended up bringing in 18 skeins of yarn, and I got out 9 so far. So we still have a few more. If I finish that one sweater, that will be 4 skeins out. So total this year for 2025, I brought in 161 skeins, and I took out 63 skeins of my stash in projects. So I don't think that's too bad. It's not quite half. The stash is still growing. But some of it I didn't buy, some of it was gifted to me, so I had to put those, they were brought into my stash. So some of it is going to start coming out here in January. But I do plan on, I've got my day already scheduled. I do plan on doing a January same thing to see what I've got in, what I've got out, just to try to give me an idea what I'm doing for the year. Okay, so that's where we're at with all of our ins and outs for that. Now let's talk about the projects that we have on the needles still. This I know is the oldest. My Sala Tea is the oldest. This is Cornbread Honey yarn. I do have, this is the front, and I have the back is going up a little bit taller. I'm getting to the point where I need to measure. I think that's the back. Yeah, that's where I attached yarn. So I just need to measure, and then I cast off a few, knit, cast off some, knit over, and then knit up one front and then knit up the other front. And then the same, once I get the back done, I cast off around the neck where the neck would be, and then again do stitches on each side. So there's not a lot left to do because there's only a few more rounds to do on each of those. So it could, if I get free time, it could get possibly done before the end of the year. I don't know. So the next thing that I know has probably been on the needles the next longest would be my Skyline Tee, and that I am hoping to have off the needles by the end of the year. I've got this sleeve going. There's only a couple of more rounds on this, then I can bind off and then pick up this for the other sleeve. I do have another skein of this yarn somewhere here. If I need to cake it up, I will, because I am almost out of this. So I'm hoping I'll have enough to do this sleeve with what I have, so I don't have to tie on, and then pick up the new skein for the other sleeve and get that one finished. But this would be something I would love to have finished before the end of the year. I'd like to have one more of my sweaters off the needles before the end of the year. I would love to have both, but I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. The next thing that I've had on the needles, and this kind of went in hibernation during Vlogmas and stuff because it is my Spectre sweater, my long sleeve sweater. It's really pretty and I love it. It's coming along nice, but there's a lot of cabling in it. And I just figured I really needed some time to think. So I decided I wasn't going to do anything with this right now. I would wait. I'm almost done with the cabling in the short rows. I think I'm at the short rows right now, and that's why I stopped doing that. Once I get past that and it's just the body, it should be okay, although it's going to be a little bit of a math because it is a fade, and I have to figure out how wide I do the body and then do that on the arms so that they equally match. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of yarn going to those. I will probably have the sleeves on magic loop. Once I put them separate for sleeves, I'll probably put them on magic loop after I get the body down a little bit. I'll separate them off and do the round as I need to, and then I will put them on magic loop and work the sleeves down as much as I can with the body, just so that I'm not working too much, because I want the sleeves to fade just like the body. I would like it to blend as well as the body is going to. So that's going to take a little bit of math and a little bit of thinking, and I didn't have it during Vlogmas. I hopefully will have it now. Let's see, what's this one? That I just cast back on. So this is my Christmas Eve cast on. And I showed this on Vlogmas. I haven't done much more to it. I started it. It is my I had yeah, I lost my train of thought at that point. This is my Goldfish Memories. The yarn is from Cornbread Honey, and it is her oh, that's a showgirl's life. And yeah, so we've got the turquoise, the orange, and then my third color for this is the mixture of the two of those together. So I haven't gotten to the third color yet. I'm still into doing the first two colors in this. But yeah, that's what I've been working, that's what I'm trying to work on. This is my January, or my Christmas Eve cast on. So I want to get this working on this as much as I can. Okay, so that is my newest thing. Oh, I just put my name, I'm using my bag from the Yarn Discovery Tour that I got when I signed up, and I just personalized it yesterday with my Cricut. Okay, so the next thing that I have on the needles, and I started it and I ended up ripping it out, but I started it again, is my comeback cardie. I really do want to finish. I want to do this, and so this is on the needles to do as well. Once I start it, I think it will go kind of fast, but right now it's just, I just started it. But yeah, I've been working on this a little bit here and there. I'm ready to put my solid colors in for between each round of each section. So that's what I plan on doing for that. So this was started in 2025, and I would have liked it to be not, but it was. Okay, so the next thing that I have on my needles is my husband's muscle burrow. Trying to get that done as well, to be finished for 2025. Who knows? It might get done, it might not. And that looks like that's everything that I have on the needles for 2025. So I'm going into 2026 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 projects. I hope it's a little bit less than 6 projects, but it might be 6 projects. I'm hoping to possibly get my skyline tee done, and maybe right after the first of the year get my solid tee done. We'll see on that. The other thing, I plan on also doing a New Year's Eve cast on. My friend got me the yarn for my birthday, and the perennial shawl or scarf, we're going to do that. I've got everything caked up. I'm going to get that started. That's going to be a New Year's Day cast on, not a New Year's Eve cast on, because I would like to try to get some of these off the needles if I possibly can. The other thing that I'm planning on doing for 2026 is I'm going to try, everybody's doing these 12 days of Christmas cast on, 12 cast ons for Christmas. I think I'm going to do 12 cast ons for New Year's and see what projects we're going to get cast on. I've got to sit down and figure out which ones I'm going to do. I actually have a line of them over here of things that I want to do. So that will be on my next video that I put out, probably New Year's Day. I will put that out. I'm going to try to get this one edited and posted later today if I can. But yeah, that is going to be it for today's video. Hopefully it's not too long. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about what I've done with everything that I cast on, and I did cast on a lot of things and I did get a lot of things done. Like I said, almost 50 projects. And I wasn't trying. I mean, I put the number 30 in there just because I was like, last year I know I did 40 and I did more than 40 and I thought, well, you know, I really want to make sure I don't want to put a high number and not have, but I think I might have started out with only like 25 and then I thought, well, I had sweaters, so because I had a lot of sweaters on the needles and I thought 25 is probably good. But then I did all those other little projects in between there and it just bumped my numbers. So that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and I will see you on the next one. Bye.